There's so many things that make people sad or depressed about the future. But I think becoming a spacefaring civilization is one of those things that makes you excited about the future.
Space is one of those things that I think almost everyone is inspired by, and if you asked people what was the most inspiring event in history, it was probably landing on the moon.
No, I think all transport, with the exception of rockets, will go fully electric. Owning a car that is not self-driving in the long term will be like owning a horse. You would own it and you would use it for sentimental reasons, but not for, not for daily use, really.
Our generation has seen incredible advancements in technology. For that, we can thank one of the most successful, influential, and notorious entrepreneurs of the 21st century, Elon Musk, the mind behind PayPal, founder of Tesla and SpaceX, the second richest man in the world after Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, with an estimated net worth of $163 billion US. He is the ambitious genius, intellectual, and eccentric tech billionaire who shook the entire world with groundbreaking inventions. This man is an engineer, a charismatic leader, a philanthropist. Elon Musk is so many things. Today, he has a dream, one that many believe unreachable, at least during his lifetime. Space colonization. This is the story of an individual whose inventions revolutionized the tech industry. After creating space rockets, electric cars, solar batteries, and robots, his astounding success puts him on top of the rank of the world's wealthiest men. They are masterminds, ambitious, competitive, and ruthless, not afraid of failure, dedicated to their mission of bettering the world, always reaching for excellence. They lead by example. Unlike many industries, the tech billionaires are mostly self-made. It is through their genius that they revolutionize the industry, and together, they change the world. Join us in this series as we take a look at some of the wealthiest entrepreneurs in the modern world. The tech billionaires, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, and Jeff Bezos. Together, they're worth a collective of more than $900 billion US. They will be remembered in history as the most influential people of the 21st century. Elon Reeve Musk was born on the 28th of June, 1971, in Pretoria, South Africa. His father, Errol, was a wealthy, successful South African engineer, and his mother, May Musk, was a Canadian model. Elon was the oldest of 3 children, and he spent all of his childhood with his brother Kimball and his sister Tosca in South Africa. They could be one beautiful, happy family. Everything looked amazing on the surface, but the reality was much different. Elon grew up in a tumultuous household and had a difficult and lonely childhood. His father was abusive towards his mother and denied Elon any help to begin a career in business. He wasn't interested in his children's happiness or success. His parents would divorce when Elon was 10 years old. Elon was different. From the age of 3, he was already showing signs of ingenuity. His mother called him a nerd. In her autobiography published in 2019, A Woman Makes a Plan, she shared some humbled photographs of his childhood and wrote, "When Elon was young, I noticed that he read everything." She realized that he had something special. Elon was bullied at school, and he struggled with having social life, unlike his sibling. He was short and introverted. He liked to read, which didn't make him popular among the other children. He said, "I was this little bookworm kid and probably a bit of a smart aleck, so this is a recipe for disaster." He described these years as lonely and brutal. His only bright escape? Technology. He was so consumed in his daydreams of inventions that his parents had a test done to check his hearing abilities. He soon developed an interest in computers and electronic devices. After finally getting his first computer, he learned to code at only 10 years old. He taught himself programming after realizing the classes weren't helping because he was ahead of his teachers. He didn't always get good grades, especially in subjects where he couldn't see the point learning them, like learning Afrikaans. Rather, he would spend his time playing video games, reading books, or coding. But for the subjects that were important to him, such as physics and computers, he would get the highest grade. To this day, he still uses reading to become an expert in a field that interests him. Even comic books would eventually inspire him to push humanity forward, as the stories in them were always about saving the world. Elon quickly figured out that if he could write and sell a better software, then he could buy better computers. So he created his first piece of space gaming software called Blastar. He sold it to a magazine for $500. At 12 years old, he had sold his first commercial program. In his college days, he would sell computer parts out of his dorm room to earn some extra cash. At this point, he had no plan of becoming a billionaire. But it seems that he was born with a creative superpower. Not afraid of experimenting and figuring things out. He was already thinking like an entrepreneur at a very young age, and was born to innovate and create. His childhood was tough, but it gave him an important asset: the ability to adapt and overcome the most difficult challenges. In June 1989, the second part of his life began. At 17, and against his father's wishes, he decided to embark on a plane to Canada, leaving South Africa and his childhood behind forever. He had in mind the American dream. Elon remembered thinking that America's where great things are possible, more than in any other country in the world. He didn't have a concrete plan, but he knew that staying in his home country wouldn't get him where he wanted to go. Growing up during apartheid, he knew he had to make a decision, and joining the mandatory service in the army was out of the question. He described the apartheid as surreal, and he didn't believe in the government. After arriving in Canada, he went to Queen's University in Ontario, where he met his first wife, Justine Wilson. They got married in 2000 and would have 5 children. He then moved to the U.S. to attend the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, where he graduated with BA degrees in economics and physics in 1997. He was 24 when he moved to the Bay Area, California, to pursue a degree in energy physics at Stanford, but he dropped out after only 2 days and went on to bigger things. Musk is not the first big name in Silicon Valley to have dropped out of college and gone on to find success. Apple co-founder Steve Jobs, and 2 of the world's richest men, Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg, all dropped out of school to start their own company. Since it was the dawn of the internet, Musk wanted to work on new technology, and he decided to move to Silicon Valley in California, the promised land for any entrepreneur in the tech world. That is where he thought he would thrive the most. It was soon revealed that Musk was a problem solver. By the time he had moved to Silicon Valley, he had a grand vision: ensuring the future of humanity. But first, he knew that he wanted to make useful things happen on the internet. In 1995, he created his first company, Zip2, with his brother Kimball, which was an online version of the Yellow Pages. However, he had no idea how difficult the first years would end up being. Having moved from South Africa and having huge student college debt, Musk was so poor that he was unable to afford both a home and an office for his company. He ended up having to sleep on the couch of his small office space and showering at a local gym. The first few months were a lot of excitement, but after several months, it started to get really difficult. Reality was kicking in. With only just one computer, he was working 7 days a week, running the website during the day and coding at night. He has declared that in order to have success, you have to have a high pain threshold. Building a company from scratch is painful. Eventually, his company took off and grew. In February 1999, tech company Compaq acquired Zip2 for $307 million in cash and $34 million in stock options. Musk was just 28 years old when he joined the rank of Silicon Valley millionaires. He had just gone from a broke man sleeping on his office couch to a multi-millionaire overnight. But he wanted more. He wanted to make a bigger impact. How about transforming the banking industry? After selling Zip2, his confidence had grown and he was ready for a new challenge. In 1999, only a month after selling Zip2, Elon and Kimball used the money from their sale to found X.com, now known as the incredibly popular PayPal. Money transactions used to be very slow. Musk noticed that there was an opportunity to make a real profound change to the financial world. He invented PayPal to make money transfers and payments easier, without having to deal with cash. In the beginning, the company was small and unknown, but Musk was ahead of his time. Thanks to his experience, his second business was easier than the first. It grew fast, and by the end of year 2, it exploded with 1 million customers. In 2002, eBay purchased PayPal for $1.5 billion. After selling PayPal, Musk and his wife Justine moved from Silicon Valley down to Los Angeles to be closer to the space industry, the next adventure that he wanted to tackle after PayPal. But money can't buy happiness. And that year, tragedy struck. By the time they had moved to LA, their first child was born, a boy they named Nevada Alexander. That same week, which catapulted Elon's net worth, their baby boy suddenly stopped breathing. He died from SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. He was just 10 weeks old. Elon had just earned his first $1 billion, but he had lost a child. Afterwards, he refused to talk about Nevada's death, and he and his wife decided that they wanted to have children again as soon as possible. Within the next 5 years, and with the help of IVF, Justine gave birth to twins, then triplets, 5 sons in total, named Griffin, Xavier, Damien, Saxon, and Kai. He and his family were living a dream, or so it seemed. Justine declared feeling that she had turned into a trophy wife and that their relationship had become unhealthy and unsustainable. The tragic death of their first child and Elon's priorities and obsession with work led them to growing apart and ultimately to their divorce in 2008. A year that would be full of challenges. Not long after, in 2010, he met his second wife, the British actor Tallulah Riley. He proposed after dating for only 10 days. They divorced, then remarried, first in 2013, and then again in 2016. Their marriage ended. Despite the troubles and obstacles, Musk had finally reached the impact that he'd been working for. His new company created something that we now all take for granted. But it changed the way money is transferred, how the world buys things. In 2002, at 31, Musk had become a U.S. citizen and a billionaire. At this point, he could have easily retired, bought private tropical islands, and sipped on Mai Tais for the rest of his life. But that was not something he has interest in. Instead, he spends most of his time at the office or in factories, working 80 to 90 hours a week. The entrepreneur is a busy man with a relentless work ethic. One of his rules for success is work like hell. He has said that his children are his priority outside of work, and he's known to be a doting father. But not everyone can handle his busy schedule. After PayPal, Musk got interested in a more inspiring future, like exploring outer space. His new goal? Enabling the human civilization to become multiplanetary. A little child with no big or clear vision evolved into a genius entrepreneur who now holds a vision bigger than what most can possibly imagine. In 2002, he founded the private interstellar travel company SpaceX, with the intention of reigniting the dream of Apollo and building spacecraft for commercial space travel. His goal was to improve the technology of space transportation by making cheaper and reusable rockets. Though space industry experts believed reusable rockets were infeasible.
On another heavenly body, to be the kind of the moon base, and then and then getting people to Mars and beyond, and it's sort of like the continuance of the dream of Apollo that I think people are really looking for.
SpaceX would be established in 2008, but not everyone was a fan of this idea of his. Even moonwalkers and American heroes Neil Armstrong and Gene Cernan criticized Musk's plans. He said in an emotional interview that it was painful to hear that.
I was very sad to see that because those guys are, those guys are heroes of mine, so it's really tough. I wish they would come and visit and see the hardware that we're doing here. And I think that would change their mind.
They inspired you to do this, didn't they?
Yes.
And to see them casting stones in your direction.
It's difficult.
Back in the 90s, the original reason Musk moved to Silicon Valley in the first place was to work on electric cars. At the time, he decided that it would be better to become part of the internet as it was booming. But his dream of building electric cars stayed in the back of his mind all these years. He recalled in an interview being passionate about it very early on at college.
I actually met
met a woman I dated briefly in college, who now works at Scientific American as a writer, and she related the anecdote that we went on a date. All I was talking about was electric cars. That was not a winning conversation.
So it was a bit of a monologue, was it?
Yeah, she said she said the first question I asked her was, "Do you ever think about electric cars?" She said, "No, she never does."
Musk is not only a tech entrepreneur, he is also a strong believer in the future of renewable energy. And he sees it as a key factor in humanity's future. Having always been fascinated by rockets and fast cars, Musk wanted to find a way to reduce global warming and end the destructive use of fossil fuels.
And we do have a significant danger with fracking technology, which is, I think, really still at an early stage. Because I think fracking probably increases the accessible oil and gas in the world by perhaps a factor of 10. I mean, we don't really know what the full extent of it is, but it's probably something like an order of magnitude, which means the potential harm to the climate is really much greater than it was before. And we can't rely on scarcity to drive the price of oil and gas high and have that be an adequate forcing function to move electric. So we have to figure out how to make electric cars themselves compelling without that economic forcing function of high gas prices.
2 years after founding SpaceX, 2004 was the year he got involved in a company that he believed would change the course of humanity and build a more sustainable future. A company with revolutionary technology dedicated to the environment, to the best customer experience, to success. The incredibly popular Tesla Motors, named after the electrical inventor pioneer Nikola Tesla. Tesla's plan was to produce a car that everyone would want. Affordable, environmentally friendly, and fast. Although Musk didn't start this company, it was actually started by two less-known engineers who simply had a vision for transport using energy that was better for the environment. In April 2004, he helped them launch Tesla with $6.5 million of his own money and was appointed as chairman of the company.
There's a certain probability that is irreducible that something may happen to Earth. Despite our best intentions, despite everything we try to do, there's a probability at a certain point that either external force or some internal unforced error causes civilization to be destroyed.
In 2006, at 32, and in his continuing effort to advance sustainable energy, he helped his cousins, Lyndon and Peter Reeve, start Solar City, a company that develops and sells solar panels and solar roof tiles. Owned by Tesla, Solar City is now the largest provider of solar service in the U.S. For him, the sun is an indefinitely plentiful source of energy, which he believes could easily power and benefit the entire world. A big part of this mission is how he plans to power the planet. And it can even work in the UK, despite the cloudy British weather.
You still get probably 80 to 90% of the energy coming through the clouds. It's just that you don't have that bright point source of a sun. And a way to appreciate this, perhaps, is to look at the fact that plants are essentially a solar-powered chemical reaction. And the UK is a very green country.
In 2008, Tesla released the first Tesla Roadster, a sports car capable of accelerating from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 3.7 seconds, paving the way for its first affordable electric car, the Model 3. But Musk had underestimated the production cost of such high-end cars.
Our goal is to get to cars that everyone can afford as soon as possible. But any technology has to go through a learning curve and has to go through economies of scale and that kind of thing. So for us, being a little startup, we had to start off with a car that was in low production and necessarily expensive. And of course, it has only the first version of technology.
Tesla have only sold 1,300 Roadsters, so critics have argued that as such a small company, they'll never have the scale to revolutionize the automobile industry. But they have sold their battery technology to Daimler, who will build it into an electric smart car. And they hope that the Roadster is a convincing enough replica of a regular car that the public might just believe that the future really is electric.
I think all transport, with the exception of rockets, will go fully electric. So that's why, I mean, I see the value of Tesla as an accelerant, as a catalyst in that transition.
By 2007, the company was running out of money. They weren't able to predict how difficult the following years would be. Musk faced tough challenges before the success of Tesla and SpaceX. 2008 would be the worst year of his life. The global financial crisis shook the entire economy. All three of Musk's companies appeared to be in serious financial trouble. By this time, SpaceX had failed its first 3 launches, and Tesla was burning through millions of dollars every month.
There's a friend of mine who's got a good phrase for so it's if you go into it expecting this, it's going to be just fun, you will be disappointed. It's not. It's quite painful. It's much easier to get a job somewhere. Much easier, much less stressful. You'll have more time for other things.
But would you be happier?
It depends on who you are. Would I be happier?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't be. I'd be unhappier.
Just before Christmas in 2008, Tesla was 2 days away from bankruptcy. Both Tesla and SpaceX had about 10% chances of surviving. The bank funding their leases also pulled out of the deal. Musk was in the fight of his life. This year was also the year his marriage with Justine ended. He was going through a very difficult period, after having put on the line everything he owned without any guarantee that it would make a difference. However, as Tesla was on the verge of bankruptcy, Musk saved the company in its darkest hour with an act of heroism. Fighting for it to the end and risking everything, he invested all that he had left from the sale of PayPal into Tesla. In September of that year, Musk was finally successful with the Falcon 9 rocket launch, the last launch that they had money for. And a few days before Christmas, a miracle happened. NASA called and awarded SpaceX with a $1.6 billion contract to supply the International Space Station.
This human spaceflight is the reason that SpaceX was created. And we're incredibly honored to partner with NASA and to make this happen.
What the National Space Agency would like to do, of course, is to slowly hand over operation of the entire International Space Station to commercial companies.
We, as an agency, we want to go to Mars and even beyond. And of course, we're very excited about the excitement that Elon is bringing to this, that SpaceX is bringing to this idea of humans expanding throughout the solar system.
In 2010, he took Tesla public, and his fortune skyrocketed. Not everyone was as upbeat about the company's future. In fact, Wall Street is the least likely to succeed. But investors ignored the skeptics. Even Musk started Tesla and SpaceX in mind that the most likely outcome was failure. But he was willing to take the risk.
Well, the reason that I'm doing it, and certainly a lot of people at Tesla are doing it, is because we think it actually is going to make a difference to the world if we transition to sustainable transport sooner rather than later. We're not doing this because we thought it was like a way to get rich or anything. Like I said, I thought maybe 10% chance of success at the beginning. I thought I would just lose all my money. And almost did. So it's not like it was, came very close to losing everything.
Tesla continues to thrive and grow, and it now has more than 12,000 superchargers across North America, Europe, and Asia. By promoting clean driving and showing the world that electric cars are in fact better than gasoline, Musk is about to trigger an electric transport revolution.
I would encourage more participation by whoever it is to create electric vehicles. It's quite hard to do, but I think companies like Apple will probably make a compelling electric car. It seems like the obvious thing to do.
It had worked. Elon was back. However, Tesla continues to be controversial. Throughout the years, critics have slammed the company for its car's quality issues, and Musk himself admitted to the defects. Recently, they also faced lawsuits, investigations, and layoffs. Their reputation have taken many hits, and they have faced turbulent years. Facebook was the only other company to experience a larger decline than Tesla in the 2019 poll. Musk said making mistakes is inevitable, but he's dedicated to constantly improving, making progress. He hasn't stopped innovating and taking risks. He made history on May 22, 2012, when after a flawless liftoff, the Falcon 9 rocket thundered unmanned into space.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And launch of the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket as NASA turns to the private sector to resupply the International Space Station.
It would send the first commercial vehicle to the International Space Station, delivering a Dragon cargo capsule full of groceries and supplies. Every bit of adrenaline in my body released at that moment, said Elon Musk about the moment the rocket lifted off the pad.
First of all, some people don't realize we have a space station. Like, can I be serious? We have a gigantic space station. It's huge. It's really gigantic. I mean, it's a pretty incredible structure that we have orbiting the Earth. And I think I'd recommend, like, man, we've got to do something to educate the public about the awesomeness of the space station, because it is pretty amazing.
SpaceX now regularly shoots satellites into space.
We have a solid telemetry link and the power systems are nominal.
We are entering a new era of space exploration, which is extremely exciting. And it's not just SpaceX, but there's a number of other companies that have developed new approaches. NASA is taking new approaches to things, which is really exciting. The alternative is to become a spacefaring civilization and a multi-planet species, which I hope you would agree that is the right way to go. Thing that's happened in the last couple of years, which I'm really excited about and I think makes a difference for access to space, is the landing of the Falcon 9 rocket booster, and then
In 2013, the business side of things was booming for him. The financial crisis became somewhat of a distant memory. He came up with more inventions. In August 2013, Musk released the Hyperloop, a form of transport that would allow commuting between major cities in a very short amount of time, while severely reducing traffic. Ideally powered by renewable energy, the high-speed transit systems would propel riders in pods through tubes at speeds reaching more than 700 miles per hour. In 2015, SpaceX began development of the Starlink to provide satellite internet access. On May 24, 2019, the first 60 operational satellites were launched. The project costs about $10 billion. For Musk, the future also means having to deal with artificial intelligence. So in 2015, he co-founded OpenAI, a nonprofit research company that aims to promote friendly artificial intelligence. He also co-founded Neuralink in 2016, a startup company focused on developing brain-computer interfaces. These advancements could improve memory or help human beings merge with software. In December 2016, determined to eliminate city traffic, Musk created the Boring Company, a tunnel and transport startup. Musk saw limitations with the current transportation network and the infamous Los Angeles traffic, and he had a vision of a futuristic underground public transport system. Their first self-driving tunnel is almost complete under Las Vegas. He intends to use the tunnels for the Hyperloop vehicles. That year, he announced that self-driving electric cars are the future.
My guess is in probably 10 years, it will be very unusual for cars to be built that are not fully autonomous.
Owning a car that is not self-driving in the long term will be like owning a horse. You would own it and you would use it for sentimental reasons, but not for, not for daily use, really.
He also announced that getting humans to Mars was officially one of his main goals. A cool goal that even has a set date, 2024.
It would be cool to be born on Earth and die on Mars.
Yeah, you've said before you want to retire on Mars. Is this more or less feasible?
Well, actually, it was asked, it's more like if I were to retire, it's not like I want to retire, but if I were to retire on the verge of senility, I'd like it to be on Mars. That would be cool.
He hopes making space travel affordable, around $100,000 per person, would hopefully entice humans to permanently move to the red planet. In 2018, he announced the first private astronaut to travel to the moon.
I'd like to introduce the first paying customer of BFR, Yusaku Miyazawa. Please come forward. Yeah.
Thank you, Elon. Thank you, everyone. Wow. In 2023, as the host, I'd like to invite 6 to 8 artists from around the world to join me on this mission to the moon.
A future where we are a spacefaring civilization and out there among the stars is infinitely more exciting and inspiring than one where we are not. You basically have to hate humanity if you don't like that future.
We've come a long way since the beginning of the space race. In 1969, the first person set foot on the moon, making history. Today, SpaceX brings us one step closer to the next giant leap for mankind. In May 2018, Musk appeared at the Met Gala with his new girlfriend on his arm, the Canadian singer Claire Boucher, professionally known as Grimes. They met online a few weeks before, after Musk discovered a joke on Twitter about artificial intelligence on Grimes' account. He reached out to her, and they started dating quietly since then. Musk told the Wall Street Journal that he loves her for her wild artistic creativity and intense work ethic. 2 years later, in May 2020, Elon announced the birth of their first son on Twitter, a son with the most unusual name. The couple initially announced that they had named their new baby X-A12 Musk. The baby's surname is simply Musk, or Little X.
I mean, it's just X, the letter X. And then the AE is like pronounced Ash. Yeah. And then A12 is my contribution.
Oh, why A12?
Archangel 12, the precursor to the SR-71. Coolest plane ever.
I love how Rogan was laughing because we were all like, Ashek, how did you get that out of it? But look at this baby. How adorable is he?
The name of Grimes and Musk's son isn't the only thing controversial about him. He's been known to be infamously controversial on Twitter. In May 2020, he wiped off $14 billion of Tesla's value with just one tweet. By writing, "Tesla's stock price is too high." $3 billion were taken off his own stake as investors bailed following his tweet. On May 1st, 2020, Musk decided that he was going to put all of his 7 homes on the market. He tweeted, "I'm selling almost all physical possessions. Will own no house." He was also seen smoking weed in an interview with Joe Rogan.
I mean, it's legal, right?
It's totally legal.
Okay.
How does that work? Do people get upset at you if you do certain things?
Do you see this right here?
There's
Elon
tobacco and marijuana in there.
Is he inhaling? Yeah, no, I'm not sure.
Okay, whether or not he's inhaling, he's in a state where it's legal.
After being married 3 times, twice to the same woman, having 6 children, and costing his shareholders billions with his tweets, it is fair to say that his personal life has been as vertiginous as his professional life. His journey wasn't always made of bright moments and successes, but Elon Musk finally reached the heights that he was aiming for. His oversized personality gets him in trouble occasionally, but he also has a vision and is driven by a purpose. At the Emerging Technologies event in 2018, he said that building the future is his goal.
The thing that drives me is that I want to be able to think about the future and feel good about that. We're doing what we can to have the future be as good as possible, to be inspired by what is likely to happen, and to look forward to the next day.
Recently, he has also become a proponent of digital currencies, and Tesla invested $1.5 billion in Bitcoin. After climbing to the top of American capitalism at an incredible speed, in January 2021, he briefly surpassed Jeff Bezos as the richest person in the world, as his net worth increased to $209 billion. In 2002, he founded the Musk Foundation, which supports renewable energy, space exploration, science, pediatric and artificial intelligence research, and he has donated at least $257 million to the organization. Musk doesn't do typical philanthropy as we know it like Bill Gates. Most of his money goes straight back into his companies. But he works for a better planet, and this is most definitely being philanthropic. In 2012, Musk joined billionaires like Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg in signing the Giving Pledge, a commitment to give away the majority of their wealth, either during their lifetimes or in their will. Are there limitations for where your imagination can take your reality? Elon Musk doesn't seem to think so. His visions for the future are beyond imagination and inspiring. He has come a long way, from a South African immigrant and a bullied boy to a self-made CEO billionaire, taking on more than 5 industries. He showed us all how to do something new that we didn't think was possible before. As we look at his accomplishments, there is no denying that Elon Musk is a genuine Silicon Valley success story. He was named one of Time magazine's most influential people in the world. He was never short of confidence and optimism. He has defied the critics. He kept fighting on the hardest days and never gave up. PayPal, SpaceX, Tesla, Solar City, they all have had an important impact on the world. The tech billionaires are an example. We learn from them that even heroes go through tough times to get where they are today. It can all start with one individual and their dreams and ambition, with someone who wanted to make the world a better place. It can all start with a small step. It seems that for Elon Musk, not even the sky is the limit. There are no limits.
Space is one of those things that I think almost everyone is inspired by, and if you asked people what was the most inspiring event in history, it was probably landing on the moon. You know, if you ask people anywhere, I'd say